Afternoon guys, hope all is well. A trade breakdown of Kiwi CAD. So if we will actually start on the monthly, you can sort of see here we've got this key area of monthly support here. So really ranging from around sort of this area here to here. So you've got multiple touches. The level, what did I have it as here? So around about sort of 82.5, around that sort of level, but I've just put it here as just a few touches. Let's just get rid of the volatility on this. So reason why this was on my watch list, I've been watching it for a while, but you can see prices just stopped here around this level, nice area of support, and then last month where we had this engulfing candle. So it's on the radar then. You go to the weekly paints a nice picture as well. So you can see on the weekly we had some consolidation here. So if you imagine sort of prices accelerated to the downside and it started to slow down. Downward sloping trend line here as well, which will become evident as we go down on the lower time frames. But you can see sort of prices slowing down and we're waiting for a signal just to move to the upside. On the daily, that downward sloping trend line is pretty obvious here. It is a little bit messy, all these lines, but I've just drawn them in just to sort of explain the analysis. It's not normally how I keep my charts, but just for the purpose of the video. So downward sloping trend line on the daily. Price is still capped by that daily 50 EMA, which isn't great, but then it is at the bottom of a run, so you need to have some sort of discretion here. On the 4 hour, you can see sort of that was this sort of downward sort of sloping wedge here. At this point here, this is where I was looking for simply just a break and a retest. Ideally, if price would have sort of stopped here, that would have been sort of a perfect entry for me. And I bet if we sort of go to Fibonacci levels, you can see sort of 618. So around about sort of even here. So if price would have stopped here at 382, that would have been a nice entry for me here. But at this sort of level here, I was just waiting for a break and a retest. The entry didn't happen actually on the 4 hour, it happened on the 1 hour on this initial position. So if we do go down to the 1 hour, what you can see here is price has gone up, and we're at this level here, we're just simply waiting for the retest of this 1 hour 50 EMA. When we had this huge move to the downside, I thought it was quite interesting that we had that massive move and then we didn't really have any momentum. So all as I've done here is just, I'll show you, I might make myself a little bit clearer on the 5 minute, so you can see. Normally what happens when we have sort of these big moves to the downside is we see sort of a little pullback and then we see a continuation to the downside, which is we just did not have that here. Price sort of stalled here and then consolidated. So this would have been taken here just on the 5 minute 50 EMA break. So you see it here. Price here. Let me just sort of mark out this position properly, because that would have been a 30 pip stop. Right, so let's get rid of that. So this position here was actually already posted from the previous week, and I decided to hold it. Decided to hold this pullback, only because of the weekly time frame, and we had there's a much longer term target here of the weekly 50 EMA, and this here. So 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, looking for the 4th touch along with the weekly 50 EMA. So entered on the 5-minute break here. You can see you had the retest of this downward sloping trend line, sort of wedge formation. This you look here as well, you do have quite a bit of support. So you've got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 in this range, 4, 5, 6 here. So there's quite a bit around here. So stop wanted to be behind 618 of this move here. So 618 here to give it a bit of breathing room. And I did actually have a longer term target of the weekly 50, but I'll explain why I closed it earlier. So this position here, when I closed it, was just running just below 5%. And then if we go onto the 4 hour, obviously this was an impulse up, and then we sort of had a correction, and then a continuation, just to carry on going. So if we look on the 4 hour, we can see prices exploded up, and then it simply pulled back to value, and then it's headed back up again. So on the second position here, let's show you here. Second position up, pull back to value, and then I actually entered on I think this was a 5-minute EMA break as well. So that would have been an entry. Should really start writing these down. So after seeing you've got 2 low tests here, tweezer bottoms, whatever you'd like to call them, you could draw here if you wanted to, some sort of mark here, and then I'd have entered on the 5-minute 50 EMA break. Going up, you can see it went up, pulled back just a little bit further. Wanted the stop to be behind 618 on this one, like most of the time, to be honest. But then you do have to remember, obviously I entered here knowing that the 4 hour 50 EMA was quite a bit behind. Obviously it pulled back to value even further, down to the 4 hour 50, and then had a big move up. I could have just waited for the pullback to the 4 hour 50, but you can see on that 1 hour it did look like prices sort of stalled around the sort of 382 level and then was just going to go. It didn't. But at that point where the first position was obviously in profit, the second position was at a loss, it would be crazy. It would be really over leveraging myself to put a third position on this. So 2 positions was just fine. And you can see actually here we've got quite a strong support level here. So you can see if I just from here all the way along, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a huge area here really for price to pull back to. Yeah, so it's a good position for me. So you can see sort of just under 5 and then 2. So it's not bad. 7% position on Nzdcad. This one was obviously held for way over a week, and this one was taken on the Monday and took profit on the Tuesday evening. I'll break down. I've taken a few more this week, so I'll break them all down. But I hope that makes some sense. Obviously, if you've got any questions, do just DM me on Instagram.